Exploring Life. Chapter 22, Humans and Planet. Part 2. Like any ecosystem, Earth has limits. Carrying capacity refers to the maximum number of individuals an environment can sustainably support. For humans, that means the largest population Earth can handle without degrading the systems we depend on, like food, water, air, and climate. Most current estimates place that number somewhere between 9 and 10 billion, given our present technology, resource use, and environmental impact. But it's not just about numbers, it's about how we live. Our quality of life, consumption patterns, and ecological footprints all affect how close we are to that limit. So do economic systems, sustainability efforts, and advances in technology. Carrying capacity isn't a fixed number. It's a moving target, shaped by our choices. Quality of life is often measured by what we consume. But consumption is a double-edged sword. In many parts of the world, high living standards are tied to overconsumption, using more resources than ecosystems can sustainably provide. This leads to environmental degradation, resource depletion, and a shrinking margin for future generations. And then there's excessive consumption, when we go beyond not just sustainability, but even basic well-being. More food than we need. More energy than we use. More waste than the planet can absorb. It's important to ask: are we measuring quality by what truly improves life? Or just by how much we can accumulate? The ecological footprint is a way to measure our impact on the planet. Specifically, how much land and water area is needed to support a person's or population's lifestyle. It includes all resource-consuming activities, like energy use, farming, fishing, transportation, and manufacturing, as well as Earth's ability to regenerate those resources and absorb the waste we produce. But there's another important measure, the Human Development Index, or HDI. It tracks a country's progress based on health, education, and income. Interestingly, countries with higher HDI scores often have larger ecological footprints, a sign that higher development can come at a higher environmental cost. Still, some nations are working to break that link, using innovation and sustainability to improve quality of life without overburdening the planet. This image compares the ecological footprint of different countries to their Human Development Index, a measure of health, education, and income. Ideally, a country would appear in the upper left: high human development, low environmental impact. But most nations with high HDI also have large ecological footprints, highlighting the challenge of achieving well-being without exceeding Earth's limits. Your carbon footprint is the total amount of greenhouse gases, such as carbon dioxide and methane, produced by your actions. It's usually measured in tons of CO2 equivalent per year. Major contributors include transportation, electricity use, and food production. Some emissions are difficult to avoid, but others can be reduced through thoughtful choices. Using public transportation, conserving energy at home, and choosing a more plant-based diet are all effective ways to lower your environmental impact. This image illustrates the variation in carbon footprints across different types of food. Animal products, especially red meats like beef and lamb, have the highest environmental impact due to factors such as methane emissions, land use, and the resources required to produce animal feed. In contrast, plant-based foods, such as vegetables, grains, and legumes, leave a much smaller carbon footprint. Among dietary patterns, a vegan diet has the lowest environmental impact, while diets high in red meat tend to have the greatest. However, even small changes can make a meaningful difference. For example, going meat-free just one day a week is not only good for your health, but also an excellent way to reduce your environmental impact. A single person skipping meat one day a week for a year can save up to 100 kilograms of CO2 equivalent emissions, depending on what they eat instead. Why does your personal impact on the planet matter? Human consumption now exceeds Earth's ability to regenerate its resources. By 2019, we were using resources at a rate 1.7 times faster than the planet could replenish them. That's like living off savings on a planetary scale. Technology offers hope. Advances in solar and wind energy, recycling systems, and sustainable materials are helping reduce our footprint. But technology alone isn't enough. Mindful choices, like reducing waste, choosing sustainable products, and being thoughtful about what we buy and use, matter just as much. This is where individual action comes in. Every small change resonates. Because when billions of people act with intention, one choice at a time, the impact can be enormous. One of the most powerful ways humans can reduce our impact on the planet is through conservation biology, a field focused on protecting life itself. At its core, conservation biology aims to safeguard biodiversity, understand ecological processes, and maintain ecosystem balance. To do that, it uses a range of strategies. From protecting endangered species and preserving critical habitats, to restoring damaged ecosystems so they can recover and remain resilient. This work isn't just about saving wildlife. It's about keeping the systems that support all life, including ours, functioning and stable. Protecting Earth's biodiversity is a global priority, but we still have a long way to go. Currently, about 17% of land environments are under some form of protection. The global goal is more ambitious: to protect 30% of both land and ocean ecosystems by 2030. Much of this effort focuses on biodiversity hotspots, areas with exceptionally high species richness and unique, often endemic, life. Examples include the Amazon rainforest, home to an estimated 10% of all known species, and the Appalachian Mountains, with over 20,000 species, many found nowhere else. These regions are ecological treasures, and protecting them helps preserve the intricate web of life on which we all depend. This image highlights the world's biodiversity hotspots, regions identified by Conservation International as critically important for conservation. There are 34 hotspots in total, and together they cover just 2.3% of Earth's land surface. And yet, they're home to an astonishing 42% of all terrestrial vertebrate species, and 50% of the world's plant species, many of them found nowhere else on Earth. These are ecosystems rich in life and incredibly vulnerable. Protecting them means preserving some of the most unique and irreplaceable species on the planet. Restoration ecology is the scientific study and practice of healing damaged ecosystems. It involves methods to repair, regenerate, and rehabilitate areas impacted by human activities, like deforestation, mining, pollution, or damming rivers. One powerful example is the Elwha River restoration in Olympic National Park. 2 large dams were removed, native vegetation was replanted, and the river was allowed to flow freely once again. The results were remarkable. Salmon populations returned, water quality improved, and the surrounding ecosystem began to recover, showing just how resilient nature can be when given a chance. Restoration isn't just about fixing the past. It's about creating a future where ecosystems, and the species within them, can thrive again. When it comes to environmental challenges, no single country can go it alone. Global problems require global solutions. From climate change to biodiversity loss, the scale of these issues demands cooperation across borders. Organizations like the United Nations play a key role, bringing nations together to promote sustainable practices and set shared goals for the future. But collaboration isn't always easy. Conflicting interests, limited resources, and cultural differences can all make global action more complex. Still, progress is possible. And the more we recognize our shared responsibility, the more effective our efforts can be. Sustainability is a global mission. And success depends on all of us working together. This image shows the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs, a global framework for building a better future. There are 17 goals, covering everything from climate action, clean water, and affordable energy, to poverty reduction, education, and health. Together, they reflect a bold vision: to create a world that is sustainable, just, and equitable for both people and the planet. The SDGs remind us that sustainability isn't just about the environment. It's about building systems where humans and nature can thrive together. While global policies are important, real change often starts at the local level, through grassroots movements. These are community-driven efforts focused on making sustainability practical and personal. They tackle issues like recycling and waste reduction, right where people live and work. One powerful area of focus is sustainable agriculture. Practices like organic farming, crop rotation, and agroforestry not only protect the soil and reduce chemicals, but also help enhance biodiversity, turning farms into part of the solution. Grassroots movements show that you don't need to be a policymaker to make a difference. Change grows from the ground up, literally. The classic principles still matter: reduce, reuse, recycle, simple strategies with lasting impact. But let's introduce a new one: rethink. Rethink your everyday practices. You can make a difference by planting native species that thrive in local conditions, providing habitats for local wildlife, using fallen leaves as natural fertilizer, choosing secondhand or sustainably made clothing, buying seafood from certified sustainable sources, repairing instead of replacing when possible, skipping synthetic pesticides and using biodegradable alternatives to protect waterways, walking, biking, or carpooling when you can, supporting eco-conscious companies, limiting single-use plastics. Every choice helps the planet, and the best part? Even occasional actions help you too, encouraging a life that's healthier, more mindful, and more in tune with the earth. On the left, we see a bee hotel, built from natural materials like wood and bamboo. The variety of hole sizes offers shelter for different species of solitary pollinators, helping support local biodiversity and plant life. On the right, an eco-friendly alternative to traditional pavement. These permeable surfaces allow rainwater to filter into the ground, reducing runoff, preventing flooding, and helping recharge groundwater. Two small interventions, both making a big difference in creating landscapes that work with nature, not against it. Now it's your turn. What actions would you include in your personal pledge to make a positive impact on the planet? Maybe it's reducing single-use plastics, cutting back on food waste, choosing public transportation, or supporting local ecosystems. Maybe it's something small you can do every day, or something bigger you're inspired to take on. Whatever it is, this is about making sustainability personal. Because real change starts with individual choices, multiplied across millions of people. So take a moment. What will your pledge be? Over the course of this class, we've explored the foundations of life, the diversity of organisms, and our place within Earth's ecosystems. We've seen how biology is not just a science, it's a story of connection, change, and impact. From cells to civilizations, from evolution to ecology, life is dynamic, and so are we. Human choices now shape the future of the planet in profound ways. Understanding biology helps us make those choices more wisely. Sustainability, conservation, and responsibility aren't just scientific goals, they're personal ones. The future depends on what we do next. And biology gives us the tools to make that future better for all life on Earth. Now it's time to pause and reflect. Can you explain the key concepts we've covered in your own words? What feels clear, and what might you want to revisit? Use this moment to check your understanding, identify any gaps, and strengthen your foundation before moving on. This isn't about getting everything perfect. It's about growing your awareness and owning your learning.